Everybody, and welcome to another production for the West Bend Community Cable Television Network. My name is Jim German, and today is Thursday, April 14th, and we're in Slinger today for apparently the 5th annual Focus on Careers. I'm with a young lady named Jenny Boyd from the Slinger High School. I'd like you all to meet Jenny Boyd. Tell us, Jenny, what's your responsibility with this Focus on Careers, the 5th annual here?
My role in the school district of Slinger is the Education for Employment Coordinator, and I am the representative from the Slinger School District who is working on the committee with the rest of the schools and some businesses in Washington County and the Washington County Economic Development Corporation. All of us have formed together here tonight with several business sponsors to put on our 5th annual Focus on Careers.
Well, I can see we've got quite a good turnout. We'll be seeing several of the people at the exhibits later. The parking lot is filled with people, children, adults, parents, and all that. Tell me, or tell us and everybody, how people got involved in this. How did they find out about this Focus on Careers? Is this, well, you tell us.
Well, we begin by having each of the school districts represented on the committee, and then we take the videotapes that we've had from previous years and we promote it within the schools. We send letters home to parents to let them know about the career fair. We advertise in the local papers and the radio stations. And we do as best we can to get the word out. We post posters in the store windows of local businesses, and our local businesses have been very supportive of putting our literature and brochures and things like that in their establishments so that the public can become aware of the career fair.
Well, that's very good. How many businesses are represented here today? And I imagine they have counseling people that help the children or the students as to career decisions. How many businesses are represented?
This evening we have over 170 career representatives here from a variety of businesses.
And businesses in total?
I don't know the final count on the businesses, but the business representatives are over 170.
Okay, well,
we have several business sponsors, those being CDM Tool and Manufacturing, Regalware, Serigraph, Signacast, West Bend Company, and Wisconsin Electric Power Company. Those are our sponsors for this year, our company sponsors, and they have been very instrumental both monetarily and with supplying a number of their employees to be a part of the career fair also.
I noticed looking through the brochure that there are quite a few people, quite a few companies represented, and we'll be getting to those folks later. We plan on interviewing some of the people from the businesses, some of the children, or I keep saying children, but some of the students, and to get their viewpoint on this thing. You said earlier that this is the 5th annual,
yes,
and it happens to be at Slinger this year, the Slinger High School. Tell us where they have been held in the past.
The first year that we had the Focus on Careers, it was held at the Hartford Incubation Center, which was a facility that helps establish new businesses until they get on their feet, and then they can afford their own buildings and things like that. So we kicked off their new opening of their incubation center with our first year of the career fair. The last 3 years we've been at UWWC in West Bend, and when their spring break schedule changed, and Slinger added this new facility this year, the auditorium and gymnasium. This is our first year with the new facility, and so we found it very appropriate to host it here this year, to celebrate both the move of the career fair as well as our new facility here.
Good. We've done a show here before, the Jazz Festival, and that was my first introduction, and it's a very nice facility. Do you have a means of accounting for attendance? Do you know how many people are attending today, or last year, year before, and all that?
Yes, we have people taking tally at the door. As people enter in, they're asked which school district they are coming from, and we hope to get a final count at the end of the night towards 1,500 people.
It's a pretty good turnout, you think?
Yes, it's a beautiful night, beautiful weather, so we're really hoping for that 1,500.
And once again, this is Thursday, April 14th, and I would guess probably then this is to be held around this time every year, so that folks who are watching this now, of course, can get ready for next year's career fair.
Right, exactly. And anybody who was unfortunately missed this year, we would be more than welcome to answer any questions about next year's event by just giving me a call at Slinger High School or calling Marcia Toish at the Economic Development Company.
Well, good, Jenny. I think that's a pretty good interview. I think we've got all the facts, and we might be bumping into you again later.
Okay.
And lots of luck to you this year and, of course, next year and all the other years. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. I'm now standing with Marilyn Orlop, who is the West Bend School District equivalent of Jenny Boyd, the lady you just met. Marilyn, how are you tonight?
I'm just fine, thank you.
Tell us and me what your responsibilities are for this job fair.
Well, I represent the West Bend School District, and each one of our school districts have been a part of the county job fair as we're focusing in on careers and clusters to help provide better communications and information about careers to all of our students.
So when we say West Bend School District, obviously it's Washington County School District, Washington County schools.
Mm-hmm.
So could you name the schools that are involved besides West Bend?
Well, we have Slinger and Hartford and Kewaskum are all involved with the program. And
Germantown, Jackson.
yes, the Jackson area as well as West Bend.
When you say West Bend schools, is it high schools or all schools?
It encompasses all schools, and each one of the districts has an Ed for Employment coordinator that helps to organize the different types of career programs that are taking place in all levels, K through 12.
Good. Now, what I'd like to ask Marilyn is, according to this brochure, Focus on Careers, what are we going to be seeing tonight? You were talking earlier off camera about clusters. There's a number of different divisions in here, and I'll name a few of them. Arts and Communication, Agribusiness, Business and Marketing, Health, Business and Marketing, Health, Human Services, Science, Industrial, and Engineering. And I guess I have listed them all, and not just a few, but maybe you could expound on that and tell us about this cluster setup.
Sure. As we are trying to identify careers for students to make it easier for them to put it into a focus as to what career area they might be interested in, we're taking a look at all of the careers, whether it's in business or if it is in health occupations, so that we can cluster them around an area that the students would have some interest in. It helps the students to focus on courses they may take in school, on careers aspects. Let me take, for example, in the health careers, many of our younger students feel that there's only a doctor and a nurse in the health field. As we continue on in exploring all of those career areas, students are beginning to realize that there's more to it than just one or two different careers within a cluster. The cluster is a broad range of careers that'll focus in on a career area that will allow students to do some exploration and allow them to really get an experience within an interest.
As the cameraman, and by the way, I didn't mention our cameraman tonight is Ralph Manthey. As Ralph was panning this area, I think you folks out there saw that the number of people, the number of tables, the exhibits, and the people from each one of the individual businesses, just exactly what happens when a student comes in here and stops at one of these exhibits. What goes on? What do they ask questions? What happens?
Many of the students will ask questions. The businesses will encourage the students to ask questions as they pass by. The students are here to take a look at the possibilities that they could get into for a lifetime career for themselves, and some real exploration of what is out there within our community as well as the surrounding communities, that we have a wonderful place to live naturally, but also a wonderful place to work. And we have a lot of career opportunities available right here.
And the folks from the various businesses are apparently or obviously recruiting talent for their own benefit.
Naturally, and we need to keep a good, solid skill development within our own community, and I think we've got a lot of young people today that are starting to develop that, and it would be nice to have them stay around.
This is a real good concept, and I'm trying to think back when I was in high school some many years ago. I don't think we had something like this. How long has this type of concept been around? Or is this just unique to our area? Somebody thought this up on their own?
No, we've had the career fair going and the concept going for a number of years, but a real focus in the last 5 years to really zero in on what we can do for students besides just giving them a good, solid education in academics, but to now link those academics with something that is going to be real for life, that they're in school for a reason, and that reason is to link their academics with a practical application of what is out there in the real world. And a lot of our schools are starting to do just that, of applying those practical skills in their classroom.
Is this a nationwide concept? Do other communities do this?
Yes, it is. It's a nationwide concept as well as a state initiative that has been directed.
Oh, it's a state initiative, and a good one, I might add.
Yes, I think it is. It also gives students, as well as our guidance counselors, a better chance to give them more opportunities to get a feel for what is happening.
I think you're right. Marilyn, you're very articulate. You must be a teacher or something.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, yes, I am.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Marilyn, and I'm anxious to get into some of these exhibits and interview some of these people, and we're going to talk to some of the students and find out how they feel about this too. Apparently it's going over.
I think it is. I think we see a large amount of students and their families coming in, and this has been a family venture, and I think it's great.
Good. Thank you very much, Marilyn.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Well, look who I have here, an old friend of mine, a council reporter. Her name is Bernadette Parr. She's with WBWI. How are you tonight, Bernadette?
Pretty good.
Hey, tell us about what your responsibilities are here. Obviously, you've got the broadcasting booth, the radio broadcaster. What are your most popular questions tonight?
A lot of people are asking what kind of job can they have in radio broadcasting and how I got into radio broadcasting, what type of education I have. I have a 4-year degree in TV, radio, film, and then kind of a journalism minor, so that took me into radio news. And I guess my best advice to students and to prospective radio people is to get an education emphasizing speech categories of any kind, and also get an internship. The internship is probably the best thing you can do. It'll help you get your foot in the door and also begin networking with as many people in the field that you're interested in, whether it's an announcer, general manager, sales. There's radio sales. You can be a business major and have a TV radio film background or just an interest and go into radio sales and try and sell radio as well. Or you can try and be the big head honcho and be the general manager and go into some sort of a management degree and with an emphasis or an interest in broadcasting.
Wow, what an answer.
I'm a speaker. That's right, Jim.
Bernadette, how does it feel being on the other side of the camera?
You're turning the tables on me. You're getting me back for all the interviews that we had to do for you.
That's right, and it's a good feeling, let me tell you. Bernadette, what made you choose news broadcasting? Apparently you had communications, speech skills. You could have gone into anything, your own radio show, your own music show, but you chose news.
Right. Well, I chose radio news because it's more stable, I feel, than being an announcer. Nowadays, with technology, a lot of automation is occurring. They can automate the announcers, they can automate the music, but they can't automate the news. You need someone to go out and cover the news and report the news and write the stories.
I guess I'm familiar with that. I hung around the radio station a little bit and watched how some of that stuff worked. And you actually buy packages from some vendors throughout the nation, right, with all the songs prepackaged and all they dub in is the WBWI. Isn't that correct?
No, not necessarily. We still have the announcers there. We dub in what the WBWI or the WBKB, the liners are dubbed in, so they play periodically. But we do have a full-time morning announcer, and he does have a little bit more leeway in playing songs. Our afternoon is covered by the same announcer on the AM and the FM side, and they do come in and they give the weather forecasts.
Excuse me. I guess I was thinking about the Harlan and Evans deals and.
Right. We have a lot of feature shows with the country countdowns and shows like that on the AM side. A lot of satellite programming through Pat Buchanan and Larry King, right, and some weekend programs with Auto Talk and different specialized categories. We're going to have some new ones coming up on computers, so all the computer buffs can tune in and ask their questions to a specialist that's out in California, I believe. So that's another area where we can use the satellites a lot and bring in different programming.
The questions that you've gotten tonight, does it look like you might have some prospective talent coming your way?
I think we do, and even a couple of people want to come in and follow Bob Bonifant around for a while, so I'll have to talk him into that.
Oh,
I'm sure he'll be willing to do that.
they'll be allowed to do that.
We'll talk to Bob, and I'm sure they can come in. We've had some students come in before and take tours of the station, either with Cub Scout troops or school classes, things like that. And also we've had some students that do a little bit of shadowing and just watch us for a while. Some days it's boring, other days it's very exciting. But
I guess. Well, thanks for the interview. Look who we have here. I'm running into a lot of people I've worked with before, and this is Dan Muckelbar from West Bend News. Dan, how are you tonight?
I'm fine, Jim. How you doing?
Good. And this young lady is Lori. What's your last name?
Lori Bader.
Lori Bader. Apparently, you're showing some interest in the newspaper business. What are some of the questions you've been asking Dan here from the West Bend News?
Well, I wanted to know how he got into the business and if it's, an easy job or how fun it is, that sort of thing.
Did he give you any any answers on how fun it is? Has he told you about the Progress edition?
Well, I like to write more of a creative edge, and he's told me a lot about it. I never really thought of being an editor, and he's told me a lot about the job and what you do in it. So it sounds pretty interesting, more than just not knowing where your next paycheck's coming from if you're writing freelance.
It sounds fun. Explain where you're from, Lori. What school do you go to?
I go to Slinger High right here.
And junior, senior?
I'm a senior this year.
And you've got college lined up for next year?
I don't have a college actually chosen yet. I'm probably looking at UW Wisconsin, right at the West Bend right now.
With English or writing degree?
Right now I'm looking at a career in advertising. I think that would be a really rewarding career, I suppose.
Okay. Lori, excuse me now. I'd like to talk to Dan a little bit. Dan, what were some of the most interesting questions you've received tonight?
Well, a lot of it is about what do we do, and I think a lot of people who come here aren't too sure what the professions are about before they ask those questions. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I was in high school, I wasn't too sure what to do or what a job actually meant. Originally, I had thought about going into marketing, and I think it's very good for students like Lori to come in here and ask us about the profession and what do you actually do when you come in the morning, what does the work entail.
Does it look that you might be recruiting some of the students here for maybe a career in the West Bend News?
You never know. I mean, Lori showed some interest as a writer. Lori showed some interest as a writer, and it's very promising to see that interest level. It's encouraging, and it's really nice to hear it.
Well, I think it is too, and speaking from experience, it is. See, Dan and I used to work together. In fact, Dan was my boss, and it really is interesting. You're right. You've got your finger on the pulse of the news. So I encourage you, and I wish you the best of luck. And I'm going to keep this interview short. So best of luck to you, Lori. Nice to meet you. And Dan, good to see you again.
Okay, nice to meet you again.
A representative of the writing industry. Her name is Lori Handeland. And Lori, how are you tonight?
Good, thank you.
Tell us about some of your works. Apparently you're a romance novelist, is that right? Is that correct?
Yes. My first book, which will be out in June, is a historical romance, and it's set in Missouri in the 1870s, and it deals with Pinkerton agents and Confederate guerrillas.
This is your first book?
This is my first book, yes.
Did you have trouble getting it published, or did you have connections, or how'd you go about that?
Well, it took me a couple years to get it published. I tried originally to sell it on my own without an agent, and that didn't work out too well, so I sent out some chapters and got an agent, and she sold it.
I'm guessing this is the cover, Lori. Would you hold that?
The cover of the book. I don't have the books yet, not until June.
Tell us what kind of a background you needed for this skill, for this ability, or unless it just came out of the air.
Well, I do have a degree in English, and I taught for a while. That helped a little, but I really don't feel that you have to have that kind of a degree. If you like to read and you like to write and you have a pretty good command of the English language, anyone can write. You just have to want to do it and keep at it.
How many places did you have to send your manuscript before it was accepted?
It was rejected by 2 publishers, and the 3rd publisher bought it.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
It is. It's really pretty good. Some people take a lot longer than that.
Well, that's encouraging, and I would guess you're working on something right now then.
Yes, I just sold another book yesterday, and that will be out next March, and that's a contemporary romantic suspense, and then I also have 2 other books with them right now.
Pretty encouraging, isn't it? Where are you from, Lori?
I'm from Thiensville.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Lori. I've been told by Ralph, the cameraman, to keep these interviews short, and of course I'd like to keep on talking to you for a while, but good luck to you in your career. And nice to meet you. Talking into a lot of people that I know here, and this next interview is going to be with Tom Litke, West Bend Art Museum. Tom, how are you tonight?
Great, good to see you again.
Tom, as we were talking off camera, obviously you're the art director for West Bend Art Museum, but what other trades are there in the art business?
Oh, there are an awful lot of them. I have sheets and sheets of the different professions. As you probably know, anything that's ever sold or marketed goes through the hands of an art person in terms of packaging and design and promotion. So the whole area of commercial art is there. The range is so wide it could include architectural model making, something even as unusual as a person who works in Hollywood to do the models for the Hollywood sets. Those are people who have traditional art backgrounds as well. There's art education, there is medical illustration. The list just goes on and on.
And I would guess with that diversity, there probably is an equal amount of art courses that one could take also. Am I right or wrong?
Well, you're right, but you know, they almost all start with the same basic art courses. Most of the people who start with a bachelor's degree in art, they almost all have to take some art history, some studio courses, some aesthetic understanding courses, so they almost all start from the same basic core background of curriculum.
Actually, I was surprised to see you attending one of these exhibits, because I thought, how many opportunities for art director can there be? But I guess you've explained that quite well. Have you had any interesting comments tonight?
I have had not a lot of interesting comments, but I've had a lot of questions. A lot of the students are interested in what this career is really all about and what some other associated careers are. We had one young man ask, what's the difference between a curator and a director? And that's a very good question.
Have you been talking to the guy next to you at all tonight? He's a very popular anchorman for a local TV.
I tell you, he's been so busy talking to so many people, young people who want to take his position when he retires, that we haven't had a chance to talk much.
Tom Paschke?
Yes.
Well, it's got to be interesting. This is my first art fair, and this is pretty darn interesting, all the stuff that's going on.
I think it's a wonderful opportunity for the kids of Washington County. It's a good chance for them to get to meet people who are successful in their careers and get an understanding about what they do. And incidentally, I should mention that I was talking with the people next to me before we set up, and I said, how many of you do you think knew you were going to be in the career that you are currently in when you were at the age of these high school students? And almost all of them said they had not a clue that they would end up in the careers that they're in. However, the careers that they did start out in helped prepare them for the careers that they're currently in.
Interesting.
Encouraging words for the young people who don't quite yet know where they want to go.
That is encouraging. In fact, that the children or the students of today are getting a head start, a jump on their careers.
Right. I think it's just a matter of getting some good basic background and some good basic training and some good learning skills and working skills. And then from that, you'll be able to follow most tracks of your career interests as they evolve.
Well, that should do it for this interview, Tom, and good to see you again.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Bye.
We have frickin' Frack here this time, Laurel and Hardy to some of you. This person here should be no stranger to most of you community cable fans. This is Bill Skadden. Bill, how are you tonight?
I'm very good, Jim. Thank you very much. It's good to see you with the mic for a change.
That's right. You know, we were going to play a trick and have Bill hold the mic and interview me, but we're going to play it straight. And Bill, the reason I want to talk to you is because you've been on community cable so long and so often. I'm sure people want to know what your background is and how you got involved in this stuff and where you're based out of.
You want to start way back then?
Fill in all that you can. And keep it down to about 2 minutes, okay, Bill?
2 minutes.
Yeah.
I just get warmed up with it.
Yeah, I know.
You know, a lot of people wonder, how do you ever get into this thing? I was a farm boy. And I started out teaching vocational agriculture. I was done as that. Then I went to industrial arts, from there to driver ed. And about 1962, I decided to change field and get into communications. And so I started out as communications, and I got my master's in communications, and then I went to administration in communications, and then from then on, 1968 is when I really got started at it. Then they was looking for a cable. And of course, we were the first cable system in Hartford in the state of Wisconsin, and after I got my feet in there, didn't take long that I was on Dreyfus's committee for the cable committee for the state of Wisconsin, and from there, every time it was cable to come in, I was part of the people to evaluate the cable. And so in 1968-69, when they put the dishes on high school, everything just come together, and I started a television production course there. Now you become authority.
Wow.
And so through the ESA grants and so forth, we got many, many $1,000s. And I also wrote the first television production course for the state of Wisconsin through the Department of Public Instruction, which was it. So then we started teaching high school kids in television. From there on down the line, it was like, where you go? And so I got pretty well involved in the access and in the television, and so more and more that people started saying, well, franchises coming into the cable systems. And I was on city council, and when I started over the Kettle Moraine meeting one time, where there was 5 counties there, and they had me as a speaker to say, when cable comes to cities, what should we be looking for? And I said, well, this is what we are recommending you to look for. Didn't take long. Milwaukee come into franchises in 1980. And when I was speaking all over the state at that time to school boards and education, teachers get involved, I was putting workshops on. Now I'm into the international television, working throughout the whole country, putting workshops in Lincoln, Nebraska, Ames, Iowa, all those things, talking about, hey, when education comes, television comes, get the better. And the first thing you know what happened is the cable company says, hey, we want you part of our thing. So that's how I got on television in 1980.
Wow, that was
Anything else?
That was some buckshot answer. I am impressed, Bill. I didn't know that you had that terrific of a background. Where are you from originally?
Way down the southwest corner of the state, down by Hazer Green. You go fast, you never see it.
Hazer Green?
Hazer Green, Wisconsin. Not Spring Green, Hazer Green.
Okay.
So 1955 is when I come up in this area and started a vocational ag teacher in Random Lake.
Are you then the director of the Hartford Community Cable then? Is that your title?
I am not the director. All I do is just make programs. Ralph and you and I, we go out and do programs around Washington County, and we put them on Channel 9, Channel 21. And it's interesting, tonight many people, as we were looking at television, they said, hey, I saw that. And so that's what we do. I'm retired. I'm just having a good fun right now, and I like to go out and meet people, put them on television so they have a great time, and that's what their time is great.
This is a great job, isn't it, Bill?
Oh, I love it. You can't. I always say I wish I could have done it all my life like this.
Well, and maybe we can generate some more people to help you and me out with this thing, because we're not getting paid for this stuff.
No, we have fun.
We're doing this just for the fun of it.
Sure.
And anybody can do it. Any old fool can do this kind of stuff. And what happens is you get to see a lot of interesting things, like tonight, for instance.
Super. You know, I got a little thing right here, and it says, if you got any television programs, and I'll read it. Craft, hobbies, clubs, education, organization that you want to produce per cable, please give us a call. Channel 9, Channel 21, give us a call, we'll go out. I have to give you, we got about 24 programs the last year and a half that we have done that people started as a craft or hobby and went through that. And I'll give you one quick one. There was a gal that got laid off about 5 years ago from industry. And so what she did, she was a seamstress, did all kinds of little, make a living. And all of a sudden she made a little dress for her doll, for her cousin. And this is one of 24 stories that got to been up. So she made that dress, and all of a sudden somebody else saw it. Well, then she got making more and more dresses. First thing she said, well, why do I go in? So she started making ceramic dolls. She started making ceramic dolls, put the dress on, is selling all over. Next thing she wanted to find out is mold her own ceramic dolls. Why can't I get the eyes molded? So she started studying that. So now she got eyes moved. The next thing she come out, one gal said, why don't you do my antique dolls? She says, I'll try it. So now she's in making ceramic dolls. She paints them and she does the antique. And it's going like that. And this is the answer of many, many people that we go is, wow, it's just like that. I think another one is good. And this is a artist, Janice Winter, I think it is, Joyce or Janice, in Romney Falls. And for years and years, she always wanted watercoloring. Never was really successful, but she taught classes for 13 years doing watercoloring, and she'd shuffle. She went to all kinds of art studios and everything else, and never was satisfied. She went to Arkansas, and she was out there painting your watercolors, and watercolors are yes and no. And all of a sudden, a guy that was really in the art watercolor says, why don't you put some strikes like this on? One person made a difference. She went down to Key West and started shuffling these things around, and she'd have piles, and maybe it worked. And right now, instead of $150, $200, she's getting $1,000 and $2,000 and $3,000 for a watercolor. Now she's known, famous wife. And it's amazing how things like this happen.
Well, I'll tell you what, and this is one little key to that type of exposure. We get to see things, and like once again, getting back to the original question, is that anybody can do this, and you can either call Hartford Community Cable or West Bend Community Cable. In fact, if you've got anything that you want to be filmed or viewed, it started way back when my daughter graduated from 8th grade, and I wanted to have it filmed, and I went to the West Bend Community Cable and borrowed the camera. They showed me how to operate it. I took it, recorded the entire ceremony. It was on TV. Anybody can do that. I think they still offer that facility.
Right. You know, it's interesting. One of the boys right here in Slinger, and he come up to me and he says, I like to fool around with video and camcorders. And I said, how can I get a program on? I said, you asked the right guy. So the two boys come up later on, and they're sitting and talking. He says, I want to be a person that really does a lot of big television. I want to be the producer. I says, you are producing right now. Start. Yeah. And so I said, give me a call, and we'll put them on. And the two of them ran away here, happy as can be. And so I told them how they can start, what they can do, go out, shoot things, edit it down, and go. Here we go. Two kids. One is an 8th grader, one's a 9th grader. I said, here's where you start. Here's where the world goes.
Simple. Any old fool, any young fool can do it.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you,
Bill,
Jim.
Nice to see you again.
You betcha.
All right, we were walking past the exit, and I snagged a few people here as they're heading out. Apparently they're done for the evening. They've already seen everything that there is to see, and I'd like to get some comments from them, how they felt about tonight's activities. And maybe you could introduce yourself. You must be the oldest sister.
Yes, that's right. I'm Bev Newman.
Beth, is it?
Bev,
okay.
Beverly. And I'm from Slinger. My kids go to Slinger High. And we found it very interesting tonight. There's a lot of opportunities here and a lot of good information for the kids to pick up on and find out, what types of careers they might be interested in. So we picked up a lot of great information for the kids to study over.
This is an interesting thing. Apparently, could this be your first job fair then?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have the individual students introduce themselves. And maybe this isn't even a student, but we talked a little bit off camera. What's your name and where are you from?
I'm Jolie Zysky, and I'm from Slinger. I was a graduate of this school in 1992, and I just came here with my sister, and I'm still planning on going to school. I haven't achieved that yet, but I got some really good information from this career fair.
Okay, and then you said you worked at Serigraph Sales. Did you come here to look at the lithography portion of it, or anything else?
I was really interested in going into physical therapy or occupational therapy, but I'm undecided yet. So I figured I'd come here with all the range of ideas and careers and see what I might want to go into.
Interesting. Now, if you wouldn't mind, I'll ask you to back up, and we'll just rotate one down, and I'll get to meet this young lady. You can go to the end. How's that? Just like in school. And you, my dear, what's your name? Where do you go to school, and what year are you, and so forth?
My name is Angie Newman. I'm a sophomore at Slinger High School.
You two are...
This is my mom.
Okay.
Sisters.
Sisters.
It's my mom.
Well, what interested you the most here tonight?
Well, I was looking for a line of marine biology, but I really didn't find anything with ocean water because we're really not close to an ocean around here. I found the Great Lakes marine biology, and I thought that was very interesting. And also massage therapy I was looking into too.
Do you think you might try a career in either one of those?
Yeah, I hope so. I want to try really hard to get into one of the two.
Have you selected a school that specializes in those things?
No, I haven't yet. I'm looking into schools in Florida for marine biology right now for when I graduate, so.
And the tan isn't bad down there either.
No, I'm hoping I'll find something down there.
It's a Daytona Beach.
Good. Well, nice to talk to you. Now, if you wouldn't mind, I'll meet your neighbor, sister. What is this?
We're best friends.
Okay. And your name, please?
April Zysky. I'm also a sophomore at this school, and I do live in Slinger. Tonight, I had doubts about coming, but it was really interesting. I came to look first for a lawyer, and I asked some questions, and I kind of thought maybe it wasn't what I wanted to be, and she saw the paralegal, and I asked him some questions, and I think that's maybe what I'm going to lean toward. they gave me like good idea of what kind of schooling, how much money it's going to be for school, what they make, stuff like that. It was really interesting.
What are your favorite studies in school now?
Right now, math is a big one for me. Next year, I'm taking law on you because I really would like to lean toward a lawyer. So I think I'm going to be the paralegal and be apprentice for a lawyer.
This is really exciting. This must be your first job fair also then, right?
Yes, it is.
I think this is so, if you excuse me, I think this is so cool that you can go out here and talk to all these folks who are in the business that you're even interested in, see what the heck it is like.
Yes, it's very good. Even I've seen a lot of younger kids here too, and I think that's great for them to give them opportunity to talk to people in the job area to see what they want to lead towards, and maybe come to a couple more when they get older. Yeah. I think it's really good.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, folks, Bev, it was a pleasure meeting you. Did you get some ideas for maybe another career?
Yes, I'm thinking paralegal myself.
Oh, are you? Well,
seriously.
You could ride
You're
together.
Never too old.
Yeah. Well, I want to wish you lots of luck in your careers, and nice to have met you, boy.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Thank you. I'm stopping at the desk or table or booth or exhibit of the West Bend Company, one of the sponsors of this year's job fair, the 5th annual, and I'm with
Joni Del Ponte.
I did it again, didn't I? It's Joan or Joni, but not Joanne.
Right.
And this is the West Bend Company, Joan, and next to you is?
Dick Orloff.
Dick, we talked to your wife just a little while ago, didn't we?
Right. She's in the youth apprenticeship program here at West Bend.
Okay. Since you are a sponsor, tell us how many years you've been doing this, or have you been a sponsor all these 5 years, or is this your first year?
No, and for all 5 years we've been involved with the youth focus on careers, both when it's been in UWWC and here at Slinger. It used to be during the day, and now it's at night. We enjoy it as a company so that we can get involvement with the youth, find out what we're doing, and find out what they want to do in the future and work with us. We need more and more employees in West Bend.
Well, I think so. It's one of the biggest problems, I think, is to get the number of working people back to West Bend. I think it's always hard. I think interviewing some of the businesses to get good help. Joan, what is your responsibility at the West Bend Company?
I work for the president of the West Bend Company. I'm the administrative assistant. Plus, I'm also secretary for our Delta organization. So.
Well, whatever. I must say, Joan, that perfume you're wearing smells an awful lot like a loaf of bread. What the heck is going on here?
Well, we're baking a loaf of bread.
Oh, silly me.
We have about 29 minutes left. So,
this apparently, Joan, is an opportunity for you to sell one of your little pieces.
Wonderful. It's the best product we've ever come out with. It is a absolutely wonderful product.
And give us a little bit about it.
All you have to do is add your liquid ingredients, then you add the dry ingredients, you turn it on, and 3 hours later you have a loaf of bread. And it's excellent.
Never fail. I'll tell you what, the smell here is, I love this.
The aroma is wonderful, right. Yes.
And
Saturday morning especially.
And what do you get for this little number, and where can people pick these things up?
Walmart. We have a bread maker specially designed for Walmart.
At our company store, also in West Bend, and also at Boston store and some of the local chain stores. Probably runs retail around $170 or something.
Well, I think it would be nice just to fill the house with that kind of aroma.
Oh, it's great.
Wonderful.
Folks, I'm going to try and keep this interview short, but it was nice to meet you, and we've got a couple other sponsors to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure being here.
Very nice.
Good.
Glad to be a part of this.
Well, good. Sponsor number 2, this is Signacast, and I'm standing here with a couple of representatives from Signacast. First is Jeannie Schaefer, I believe. Jeannie?
Yep.
And on my right then is John Nitchin. All right. Jeannie, I'll start with you. What is Signacast? What is the significance? How did that name come about?
Well, we are an investment caster maker, and we make precision metal parts for companies all over the United States. Some of them, what we do is we invest wax into a ceramic slurry, which we build up a shell around the wax, and then after that's complete, we melt the wax out of the inside, and so we have a hollow mold left that we pour molten metal into, and the metal is at 3,000 degrees when we pour it in.
That would be probably this item then.
Right, this is just test bars to show the process. We actually start out with a die that we inject liquid wax into, and it forms the exact replica of a part. And they get assembled on a sprue, which is also made out of wax. That's what we then invest into the ceramic to build the shell up around it, and later on pour the molten metal in after we've melted the wax out. And it forms the exact replica in the end.
Interesting. And where's your company based?
We have a plant in Brown Deer, which is north of Milwaukee, and also a new one that we just built in Hartford.
All right.
In the Dodge Industrial Park.
All right, let me talk to John then for a moment. Gene, is it?
Gene.
Okay, thanks, Gene. Now, just a moment. John, what's your responsibility with some of this stuff? It says Melt Master Tech. I imagine you had something to do with creating all these things?
Well, I work in the melt department. But when I get the part, it's already in this hollow shell form. And I'll melt down roughly 500-600 pounds of metal and then run a prelim to make sure that the chemistry of the alloy is right, and then make additions to the metal and then pour the heat off. Okay. Usually about 10 molds of heat.
How many folks are involved in the Signacast? How many people work there?
It's about 20 on a shift. Spread out.
3 shifts?
4. 3 days on, 3 days off. 6 and 12-hour days.
How did this Signacast get involved in this Washington County job fair?
That I wouldn't know. Jeannie would know.
Jeannie, did you get the question?
Yes. We've been working with the schools trying to build up our name around the community, and we were asked to join it. And we felt it was a good way to meet the students and to let them know more about our company.
Well, I imagine you get some employees out of this also, don't you?
We hope to.
I'll tell you what, this little number here must weigh 40 pounds, 30 pounds? 50 pounds? It's quite, you could use that for working out. Folks, it's been a pleasure meeting you both, and good luck, and I would guess you'll probably be back again doing this stuff again next year, right?
Oh, I'm sure we will.
Okay, we'll probably see you then.
Okay.
Thanks for the interview.
Sure.
This is sponsor number 3 out of 5 sponsors tonight. This is CDM Tool. I'm standing here with Brian, and the last name, Brian?
Pre-staff.
Okay, Brian, CDM Tool, what does that stand for, and where are you located? Tell us something about your outfit.
Okay, CDM originally goes back to Curtis Development and Manufacturing. That's 30 years ago. Now it's just the initials, and Curtis Development is no longer associated with our company. We're a tool and die firm. We build plastic injection molds. We have about 35 people. We are in Hartford, Wisconsin, and specialize strictly in plastic injection.
Well, you've got a table full of some things, and it looks like you've got some quite heavy objects. This looks like a Chevrolet product, and a bunch of car deals, it looks like.
Right. This is a prototype mold that was built, probably about 4 years ago. The reason I bring it in, it's small enough that I can carry it, but it makes a Chevy bow tie. This went on the Chevy Numi that was built out in California.
Did that go in here somehow?
Yeah, it used to go in here. This is out of the production mold. The prototype mold is a little bit smaller.
Okay. So. Well, then on down the line, you've got a number of other parts, highly recognizable objects.
Parts that go to Milwaukee Electric. This goes into the Mark 8 Lincoln Continental. John Deere bumpers. Get involved with healthcare products, cosmetics products, and other automotive products. Fishing products, tackle boxes, things like that.
Sounds like you're pretty well known nationwide then with this little Hartford, I shouldn't even say little, this Hartford-based organization. Tell us, Brian, what you've got here, a little plaque that you were showing off before, off camera?
Well, our company has been very orientated to educate young people. This is our 5th year that we've been involved with this. We're one of the original companies that started when we first had this program over at the Innovation Center 5 years ago. So again, we're looking for good people, looking for people that don't always want to go to college, but they can go to vocational school and get 2 years at the vocational school, and then basically come out and look for an apprenticeship either as a tool and die maker or a machinist in our company. So we're in the business of recruiting people, and that's why I'm here.
And speaking then from the employer standpoint, these little job fairs do create a market for you. They do create some input for you folks.
Absolutely, right. We're also looking to enhance our communities. We want people, young people, to get a good start, and that's why I spend this time. Hopefully we're planting seeds for the future, and whether it be in the tool and die business or in some other profession, but to get these young people ready to go early, and so that they don't go out and flounder for years and years and years.
You bet. That's one of the things. That's one of the things I've been noticing, and I'll tell you what. I appreciate your involvement, and my hat's off to you, and continued success. I hope to see you again next year.
Excellent.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Now, this time we're at the Regalware exhibit, and of course they're one of the sponsors of this 5th annual job fair in Slinger, and I'm with Robert Swanson. Hi, Bob. Can I call you Bob?
You sure can. That's what everybody does.
Okay, good. Just the first question I got, where the heck did you get that tie anyway?
Oh, I got this actually for my birthday from a friend of mine. All the profits go to the World Wildlife Fund. So I'm consider myself an environmentalist.
Gee whiz, they let you wear that stuff over at Regalware?
I try not to because I try to dress a lot more casually than this.
Really?
Right.
Bob, tell us about your responsibility at Regalware, and of course how you got involved with the Slinger's annual job fair.
Well, we're usually a sponsor every year for this, and we like to be a part of it because we like to show people and students from around the area what kind of recruiting efforts that we have and what kind of jobs are available, what kind of career paths they might want to take as they go into college. I'm in the HR department and
Human resources.
Human resources, right, as well as my colleague who's unavailable at the moment, Christy Schock. And so we're trying to give kind of a perspective from the HR department, although we do have some other careers represented here, as to what types of pathways you would follow in college to pursue something in the human resources field.
Well, with Regalware especially, you have many directions that actually employees have many directions within the company as to what to take up.
Right. In fact, I was just explaining to one student who was amazed to find out that we actually design all of our products in here, like our electrics. We design what you see here. This is all done by our engineering department, by our research and development. And that's something that's really, I think, crucial to get the word out, because when I was in high school, we didn't have a lot of these fairs to expose people to these kind of careers and these kind of pathways that they might choose.
I understand, and I'm going to mention this for your benefit, but we talked earlier to a woman, Jenny Boyd, I believe her name was, and she said that these career things have been state mandated. Did you know that?
Well, if they're not, they could be, but if they're not, they should be, because, again, when I went into college, I didn't have a lot of pathways, a lot of direction. If you know exactly what you want to go into and you know what's out there, you have a better understanding and a better idea of what pathway you want to take in college, and that can save a lot of time and money for every student.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I appreciate your input to this job fair, and I'm sure that everybody who has attended tonight has also appreciated it.
It's great to be a part of it every year.
Good. Hey, nice to meet you, Bob. Maybe you'll see you again next year.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. The last sponsor, this is the 5th sponsor. This is Serigraph Sales out of West Bend. I'm standing here with 2 representatives of Serigraph, and on my left is Randy Wiskerson. Randy, how are you?
Good.
Randy, what is your responsibility with Serigraph, and how long have you been with the company?
Actually, I oversee the automotive division. We have 4 different divisions at Serigraph: automotive, appliance electronics, point of purchase, and decorative trim. And my responsibilities lie with the automotive group. And I've been with the company, believe it or not, 19 years.
That's quite a while. You're a West Bend native, of course. We were talking off camera how we bump into each other on the softball diamond from time to time. Literally, I guess. But excuse me now, Randy, I want to talk to the gentleman that's with you, and his name is?
My name is Robert Lapota.
Okay, Robert, and what's your responsibility with Serigraph?
I'm the manager of employment and safety.
Okay, and of course this is sponsored by five sponsors. Serigraph is one of them. How long have you been a sponsor? How long has Serigraph been a sponsor of this job fair?
We have been a sponsor for the last 5 years, and the council is nice enough to give us a very nice plaque for our accomplishment for being a sponsor for 5 consecutive years.
Oh, we saw one just on one of the desks next door, but that is very nice, actually.
Serigraph is proud to be a sponsor of such events in Washington County, and we like to get involved with the schools and have a close relationship with the community. We feel this is an excellent way to do that.
Good. Now, Randy, maybe you'd like to explain some of the stuff that Serigraph is noted for. I know a lot of people in the West Bend area have heard the name, but maybe they don't know what you folks make.
Right. I think typically people, when they think of printing, they think of people that print catalogs and other type of brochures. But our printing is a little bit unique from the standpoint that, like I said, we service 4 different markets, and some of the products that you see behind you here go in cars, places like McDonald's, medical equipment, and lawnmowers, snow blowers. Just Serigraph offers a lot of unique ways to decorate different products. Our company has also been involved with the Printing Youth Apprenticeship Program, where we sponsor several high school students who go to class in the morning for 4 academic hours of academic instruction, an hour of technical instruction, and they come to Serigraph for 3 hours of paid work experience, which has also been a very beneficial program. We're basically trying to groom workers to meet our needs, both quality and our expansion needs. So,
yeah, very good. Robert, let me ask you a question about Serigraph and its location. John Torina spoke to our group, the Kiwanis, on Tuesday, and he said that folks are expanding again, and maybe you could tell us where you're all located in the city of West Bend, maybe even Washington County.
Sure. All 4 of our plants are located in the West Bend area. We have one plant on the north side of West Bend. We have a plant located in the West Bend South Industrial Park. Our main plant, the original building, is located on the corner of 760 Indiana Avenue and Decorah Road. And Plant 2, our automotive plant, is located a mile and a half east of the high schools on Decorah Road.
Are you planning on expanding still further?
We've had a lot of additional employment that we've been hiring for over about the last 6 months. And if anyone is interested in working at Serigraph, they can come out to our Plant 2 located at 1859 Decorah Road to fill out an application for employment.
Good. How many employees do you have?
We have just a little bit over 900 employees at this time at our 4 facilities.
One of West Bend's largest employers, in fact.
I believe we're the 3rd largest employer in the county.
Good. Well, I wish you folks a continued success, and I imagine you'll be doing this again next year and for 5 years and so forth.
Count on it. We'll be here.
Do you get a lot of input from the students? Do you get a lot of people who apply for jobs saying that they were here, noticed you at this thing?
We do. Yeah, students and adults.
Good.
Yes.
Good. Well, lots of luck to you folks,
okay.
and thanks for the interview.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks, Randy. Looks like we've got another couple of students here at the 5th annual Slinger Job Fair Market. And your name, young man?
Andy Barlow.
Andy Barlow, and the lady next to you?
Sherry Barnes.
Okay, where are you both from? Looks like West Bend East.
West Bend East, yeah, high school.
And what year are you at West Bend East?
Junior.
Junior also.
Okay. We're just about done with the job fair here. It's now about 10 to 8. It only has about half an hour to go. You must have seen everything that there is to see. What were you interested in when you came? Andy, how about you?
Physical therapy and sports medicine mainly.
All right.
Yeah.
Did you find something?
Yeah. Gave me plenty of information. And the guy even set up a tour with Hartford Hospital with the gentleman over there. So.
You're from West Bend, though, right?
Yes.
Okay. Sherry, how about you? What did you find interesting?
Industrial psychology.
Excuse me, but that seems like a pretty ambitious topic. What put you on industrial psychology?
I talked to all the people and it sounded the most interesting.
Okay. What are you taking in school? Do you have anything that might be taking you in that direction?
Next year I have psychology and sociology.
Okay. Well, what do you think? What's your overall viewpoint of this whole deal? Is it worthwhile? Was it fun? Was it interesting?
Yeah, it's pretty good. The way they have it laid out, it gives you a lot of information that you can use to help you get a job better and plan your future easier.
Sherry?
I think so too. It's laid out very nice. Lots of opportunity.
Do you have some plans for school after high school?
Yeah, I'm planning on going to the University of Minnesota.
Okay. And Sherry?
4-year college. I don't know which one yet.
Well, good. I appreciate the comments and good luck to you folks in your education. Okay.
Thanks.
Andy?
Bye.
Sure. Well, I guess we all love animals, and this is probably the only animal in the job fair tonight. And I'm standing here with a couple of representatives of veterinary clinics in the county in 2 different cities, and I'll start with you, young lady, and you can tell us what your name is and where you're from, and then I'll get over to this one. Your name, please?
Julie Wendt, and I'm a certified veterinary technician from Hartford Animal Clinic.
All right, and is this your dog?
No, that's Trisha's dog.
Okay, well, we'll talk to Tricia later. Julie, how did you get involved in veterinary? Is that the right term? Veterinarian? Give me some help.
Care or,
That's good.
Ever since I was a young girl, I've always been interested in animals, and I wanted to get into a profession that dealt with animals, and I found the veterinary technician program. It's a 2-year program at MATC in Madison, and started out from there.
It sounds interesting. How long have you been in it then?
I have been out and working in Hartford for 3 years now.
Good. Thank you, Julie. Let me meet this lady. Her name is Tricia.
Tricia Sanborn. I'm from the Kewaskum Veterinary Clinic.
Well, all right, Tricia. Do you have any competition from these folks over here?
No, we're far enough apart that it doesn't really matter, and technicians kind of stick together to help get through things.
Do you go to a lot of the same seminars and clinics together, I would guess?
Yes, we do state meetings and regional things, sure.
Okay. Tell us about your animal here. The scene stealer of them all. This thing is on drugs. It hasn't moved since we got here.
No, she's not. This is Curly, and she'll be 7 in October. And technicians need a good visual aid. People don't know about our occupation, so I thought this would be a good thing to draw attention to us.
Her name is Curly?
Curly.
She's sure affectionate. She's been quite docile, I might add. What is your background, Tricia, and how long have you been doing this stuff?
I've been a technician now for 10 years, and I work for Dr. Greg Ogie in Kewaskum in a mixed practice. I did do a lot of large animal work, but now I'm just in the office doing a lot of dental work, lab work, that type of thing, and do a lot of consultation with people and pets.
Wait a minute. Okay, you're in Kewaskum, okay, good. Okay, I was getting Kewaskum and Hartford mixed up, I beg your pardon. Tell me, both of you, either one, have you found any interested people, any interested students in veterinary? Julie, maybe?
A few. There's been a few that stop by. There's a lot that don't know what our profession is all about, and I compare it to a lot to being like a registered nurse.
I think
we do a lot of the same things that nurses do.
Did you have this feeling way back before you graduated from high school that you want to do this kind of stuff?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And I think it's a kind of a cute little trick to bring some kind of a visual aid like this to bring in all those other people. Hey, let's talk to the dog and we'll get some background.
That's right.
Right? Isn't that right?
Yeah, it worked good too.
I'm on to you, Tricia.
Okay, good.
Well, if whatever works, and I think this is one of the biggest advantages, this little job fair. We've been hearing people sing praises of the job fair all night long. How I guess wonderful it is to get the students to meet the people and that kind of stuff. And I guess you could add all that stuff yourself too, right?
Yes, and we encourage them to come and visit a veterinary office and see what we actually do.
No, that would be interesting, you bet.
Yeah, a lot of people just think we sit in the back room and play with the dogs and cats all day long.
So now, you know what, this is going to be on TV. Now, when you're making such a bold statement, you better be prepared to have some people show up at your door and say, hey, can I see what goes on there?
We usually do.
Can you?
Yes.
Would you do that?
Yeah.
And Julie, the same way?
Same way. Yes, we've had quite a few students come through already this year, either in group tours or individually kind of shadowing us and seeing what we do for the day.
It's a wonderful idea, and I imagine that promotes some more interest in your line of business.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a short interview, so thanks so much for this interview, and good luck to you in your profession, right?
Thank you.
Good. You're welcome. Well, I'm going to take a break here. I'm going to sit down and talk to an old friend here. This is Mike Bladorn on my right. Mike, how are you tonight?
Hey, we're getting a lot of business. I'm getting tired.
Hey, haven't I seen you earlier tonight?
I think we spent about an hour down at the studio doing the taping for Litter Busters April 23rd.
We're going to have microphones growing out of our lip pretty soon.
Oh.
Mike, now's a real good opportunity for me to actually get to know you better, and I see you have a booth here. The title shows Social Service Director. Now, I know you work for the Social Service of Washington County. Tell myself and everybody else what the heck you do there.
Okay. Well, actually, this is a promotion. I'm not the director. I'm one of 4 social service supervisors. I supervise what we call a family service unit, and we provide services to child abuse and neglect cases and juvenile delinquency cases. My unit would do an assessment, or when let me give you a typical day. Phone call comes in from a school that a 7th grader is there with a bruise. One of my staff would go out and check it out and find out what's going on, Was it an accident? Was it an injury from a parent, step-parent? We'd continue that assessment for about 30 days and see if there's anything that we as an agency had to offer that family so it doesn't happen again. The other part would be going with the family to juvenile court, writing a report for the judge, making recommendations on how we think the case can be best handled, and then following that case for probably about a year, providing some individual and family counseling. So we got the children and the families, and we've got the abuse and neglect situations and the juvenile court cases.
How did you get involved in something like that? Is this kind of like a psychology or therapy? Is it something that would be handled in the private industry for $110 an hour?
Exactly.
How did you get involved in something like this?
I got interested in college in the social work profession, and then I came to work in Washington County and was a caseworker for a number of years. Went back to school, got my master's degree, and became a supervisor after coming back to Washington County in '74. 7 of my staff have master's degree in social work, and 1 has a bachelor's degree. So we have some very well-trained, good educated, good people. They could do therapy if that was what they wanted to do.
This is entering and crossing over the counseling line, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. The person on my right, who's not here right now, is in private practice, and we had some students ask, "What do you make?" I told them we don't charge fees for our services. We're funded by county, state, local monies. They charge $90 an hour.
Exactly.
To see someone. As a matter of fact, she used to work for me. She's a master's degree social worker who used to work for Washington County. Now she's at a private agency. If she sees a family, she charges them $90 an hour. Of course, she doesn't get the $90. You got to pay the rent and the heat, etc. But
and they're not working every hour of
exactly. I think she said she had 4 appointments today, whereas my staff were working 8 or 9 or 10 hours today.
Yeah. You said earlier off camera that you had some real interesting questions from some of the students who stopped here and were interested. Share those with us, would you?
Well, one of the most common questions has been from young people coming up saying, "We've heard that it's a very stressful job. Is that true?" And then their second part of that question is, they say, "If it is, what do you do about it?" So we've told them, yes, it is stressful, but you need to take care of yourself. You need to have a support system, whether that's a spouse or friends or exercise, whatever, something so that you can make a break at the end of the day, so that you get your mind off your work. Diane Smith and I, who's the private practice social worker, we're talking about the different things we do to take care of ourselves, to stay healthy, to stay energized. The young people really have the impression that it is a stressful job, but I think they understand better that there are ways to deal with that so you don't get burned out. You've got to be able to turn it off and get on with your life.
Yeah, I guess I've heard that comment too, that folks in this industry bring those problems home, suicide cases, and you worry about them constantly. I mean, it's not like you have enough to worry about your own family. You got every other family to worry about too. And Mike, then the next question obviously is, how do you relieve your stress?
Well,
go ahead.
You know?
No.
Well, as you know, Jim, I'm involved in a lot of activities in the community, and that helps me keep a balance. It helps me keep a perspective. I get to work with people and families that don't have the kinds of problems that I deal with day in and day out. I have a good support system at home. I have a very supportive wife who also happens to be a social worker. She deals with the elderly, so we've got all ages covered.
Your wife is a social worker?
Yes, she's a social worker in the county, works with elderly and physically disabled adults. I'm involved. I like to do a lot of sports, basketball, cross-country skiing. We walk every morning, not every morning, but as often as possible for exercise.
You know, and that's really good advice for anybody. I mean, everybody's got job pressures and that kind of stuff, and you really have to drop that stuff when you come home and get into something else and something totally different to shed all that stress from the workplace.
Exactly. One of my favorite things that's become a good habit for me is get home from work. I like to get to work in the kitchen, prepare dinner. Helps clear my mind totally. Yeah. Look at a recipe and think about a recipe instead of what was going on during the day.
I think this would be a real good opportunity to hint about that other thing that you're involved with, the Leadership Greater West Bend. And I'm not kidding. I think this is one of the finest projects that I have been associated with, but that you were instrumental in. And that's a real feather in your cap. And that's, of course, the Litter Buster campaign. And maybe just a sentence or two about that, Mike.
Sure. April 23rd, Saturday from 9 to noon. West Bend will be having our 3rd annual Litter Busters event. We're going to clean up the community, schools, playgrounds, playlots, business, neighborhoods, industrial parks, you name it, we're going to be out there. It's 3 hours on Saturday morning. Come on out and have some fun.
Good. And when that was instituted, that was a part of the leadership Greater West Bend. You were involved, and how many other people were involved in it?
There were 4 other members of the leadership class that helped put this together, along with Meridel Sager from the West Bend Beautification Committee.
And in an effort to give the leadership Greater West Bend a plug, I think that's also a good outfit, a good organization. Out of that came this Litter Buster program, but also a number of other things that were in addition to the Litter Buster program. Am I right?
Oh, every group has to have a project, has to have a program, and every one of them has done something extremely valuable for the community, whether it's been the Litter Busters or videotapes about careers, a day for elderly citizens on safety and healthcare needs, all kinds of projects that have really been good for the community.
Good. Well, I think that's going to be it. We're going to wrap this little interview up, Mike, and hats off to you, and good luck to you in this and the Litter Buster program, and we'll be seeing you again.
I'll see you on the 23rd of April.
You can bet on it. Thanks, Joe. You're welcome, Mike. I'm with Pat and Pat McEntee. This is Pat McEntee on my left, and on my right, this is Pat McEntee, and if any of you folks know who these folks are, they're representatives of the Coachwork Auto Body. Pat, tell us about your business and where you're located and how long you've been doing this kind of stuff.
I've been doing it for about 25 years, and I've been in business, my own business, since 1980. And we're located on Highway 33, about a half mile east of Highway 41, just outside of Allenton.
Okay. And Pat, you then, are you the head fender straightener, or what is your responsibility?
My responsibility is to take the money, Jim.
Pat, I got a feeling that you've been in business just as long as this gentleman here.
Every day.
Tell me, what kind of a background? Of course, I shouldn't ask you this, Pat, but what kind of a background would you need to do body work? Is there a tech school for that, or do you? Tell me how you got started.
There's a number of different tech schools available. There's a Marine Park in Fond du Lac. There's Lakeshore Technical Institute, which is in Cleveland, Wisconsin, just north of Sheboygan. There's Waukesha Technical Institute in Waukesha. I basically got started, I was in the automotive trade, had a lot of interest in the automobiles. Went to Fond du Lac Technical Institute at that time for auto mechanics for 2 years, and then I took a GM training course for about 9 weeks, and then I got into an automotive dealership, new car dealership.
Okay. Or into a new car dealership, right. And then ultimately into your own body shop.
Right. Mm-hmm. I ran a dealership shop for about 4 years.
Okay. How many folks do you have working for you, Pat?
We have 8 employees now, besides Patrick and I.
Are they all fender straighteners?
Some painters, some fender straighteners.
Okay. And of course, you have training in bookkeeping, finance, that kind of stuff.
Right. I stay in the front.
Well, one of the advantages of doing these interviews is that I get a chance to talk to some friends of mine. Of course, Pat and Pat are some old friends of mine. It's good to see you both again, and I'm guessing that this kind of your appearance at this job fair is an indication that you find it's worthwhile, and maybe you can generate some employees out of this.
Oh, definitely. Yes. Yeah, the industry needs new people coming in. So we're more than welcome the people that are up and coming to take the classes and join our industry.
Oh, good. Good. It's good to see you both again, and I wish you continued success in your Coachwork Auto Body.
Thank you.
How's that? Good.
Thanks, Jim.
You're welcome. My last interview tonight, and this is Jim Paschke from WITI TV6. Jim, welcome to City of Slinger.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
I noticed before when I was talking to your next-door neighbors that you had quite a crowd around you. Tell us what kind of interesting comments did the children have, or did the students have tonight?
Well, it was interesting to me because it was wide-ranging. Of course, there were the young men who wanted to get into sportscasting, and they were talking to me about that. And a lot of people were interested in journalism and anchoring and reporting and that type of thing. So they had pretty wide interest in broadcasting.
What's your background in this, Jim? How long have you been in the industry?
Well, longer than I probably should admit to. I've been doing this for about 20 years now, and basically I've been a sportscaster for all of those years. I'm starting to do a little bit of news anchoring at Channel 6 every once in a while, broadening that out a little bit. But my main focus has been sports. I do the Milwaukee Bucks games on Channel 18. I've done that for 8 seasons now, and I guess that's my number one avocation. I enjoy that very much.
Some pretty good game last night. I happened to be there, and doggone, how can they beat us like that, huh?
You're talking about the New Jersey game that they lost in the last second. That was a very good game, and the Bucks have had a tough year, obviously, but they're hanging in there, and I think if people stay with them, they'll be rewarded because they're probably going to get a pretty good draft pick, and it doesn't take an awful lot in basketball to improve and get back.
I'm tempted to ask you, since you do all the broadcasting, what advice do you have for the coach?
I don't give the coach advice. I let him coach, and he lets me broadcast, and that has worked very well for both of us.
Hey, nice dance there, Jim.
Thank you. You have to be smart in this business, Jim.
Hey, good. And I'm guessing that you might do this kind of thing elsewhere besides the 5th annual Slinger job fair.
I try to get out to schools as often as possible. I enjoy visiting with children. I go to schools in Milwaukee and all around the area whenever I can, and it's always a pleasure. They have enthusiasm, and I enjoy that very much.
This is and hats off to you too. This is you're always, all media folks are always welcome at these types of events. And I'm guessing that you probably get a lot of interesting questions, a lot of people wanting to be in the business. And what advice do you give them then?
Well, the first thing, of course, is to get an education, and anymore in our business, a 4-year degree is required by and large for whatever you want to do. That's the requirement to even get started. So I would suggest that they go that route. And I like to tell them to have passion. If they have passion for this business, they're going to succeed, because it takes a lot of dedication. You have to stick with it. There are ups and downs, as there are in every business, and you're right out there in front. It makes it a little different. You can't hide in television or radio. You sign your work every day, and that makes it exciting and difficult, and you have to be a person who can handle both of those aspects.
Well, good. I appreciate the interview, Jim, and hope to see you again possibly next year, and good luck to you and the Bucks and all that.
Well, thank you very much. Hopefully there'll be somebody who I visited with tonight that'll take my job someday.
Hey, you bet. Thanks for coming.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome. This is the wrap-up, the final wrap-up of the 5th annual Slinger Job Fair, and I'm with Marcia Toish. Marcia, tell us what your responsibility was with this wonderful little job fair that you put on tonight.
Basically, what I do is coordinate all the schools so that we can make this thing happen. I'm kind of the behind-the-scenes coordinator for the whole event, working with all of the schools in the county.
You're with the Washington County, aren't you?
Right, I'm with Washington County Economic Development, and we've been involved in this since its beginning, and part of the reason is to assist our businesses to familiarize the students with what's available in Washington County. We want the kids that are here to know the jobs and the careers and the possibilities that they can have right here in Washington County.
Did I get this right? I think I got a comment from one of the other ladies tonight that this was a state-mandated event. Is that correct?
This particular format is not mandated, but the state has encouraged and it has, required schools to do the school-to-work transition kinds of programs. And what that is to, introduce activities and programs that prepare kids for the workforce.
Mm-hmm. And so when this did come down, I imagine 5-6 years ago, were you contacted? Was the county contacted in an effort to put this together?
No, it was just kind of an idea that came out of some brainstorming and based on what some other communities had done, and we said we can do that here, and we did it.
Were you involved in those ideas?
Sure.
Well, this is really this is my first job fair, and I was very, very much impressed. I think it was very well handled. You had a cooperative bunch of employers, interested group of students, parents were here to check out careers for themselves. What more can you ask for from a job fair?
The real nice thing about it is we do get the parents involved, and they are a critical element in the student's career choice. I mean, they influence their student, whether they realize it or not.
Oh, absolutely.
And secondly, we have to thank, we had 170 business representatives here tonight who give up their time voluntarily to come over and be here, and we couldn't do it without them.
That's quite a few, and I imagine that even at this moment, you're already preparing for next year.
Oh, definitely.
Will it be here again?
I don't know. This was a great facility because it was large enough to handle everything in one room, and it's centrally located within the county, so we're definitely going to consider it for next year.
Okay. And I would guess somewhere around the 14th of April, day before tax time again, like this year.
Right, or election day like last year.
Was it okay? Well, I'll tell you what.
But, the date depends on when we can get a facility that's available, so that's how we choose.
I'm going to wrap it up with that, unless you've got something else to say.
No,
but
I thank you for being here and taking charge of the videotaping.
And I can tell you one thing, it was genuinely my pleasure. It was a lot of fun, and I hope to maybe be here again next year, and continued success to you.
Good. We'll have you back. Thanks.
Thanks, Marcia.
We do not weld on the pressure vessel. We do not, some of our people have ASME